Today is the first lesson of Chapter 4, Expressions and Equations, and we are going to start off by reviewing something we've already been introduced to this year. So evaluating expressions. So the key word evaluating means to solve, and we have to remember when we're evaluating anything, and there is more than one operation, we're going to continue to use our order of operations. So an algebraic expression consists of numbers, variables, and an operation. So numbers we're already used to. That would be like 1, 2, -1. It could be whole numbers, rational numbers. Variables are letters that take place of a number. And then an operation would be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, raising to certain powers, etc. So you can represent the multiplication and division in more than one way. And we've been already introduced to these this year, but we're going to keep going over them. So for multiplication, you can have the dot, so 5 times x. You can have parentheses. So a lot of you have been asking me about parentheses and what they mean. If there's parentheses next to a number, it means multiplication. And then if there's no symbol and it's next to a variable, it also means multiplication. So all three of these expressions mean the same thing. 5 times x, 5 times x, and 5 times x. Now let's look at division. So the division symbol, you either have it written like this, which you're used to, or as a fraction, x divided by 8. And remember, for both of these, you can use in and out, in and out. Go ahead and write these down in your notes, and then continue when you are ready. So evaluate means to find the value. And we have to remember that we are going to use PEMDAS, which we actually use something different. We use GEMDAS for our grouping symbol, and we are going to make sure we are substituting the variable. So to substitute means to replace the variable with the number that they give you. So evaluate a over 3 when a equals 27. We're going to do that one first. So a over 3, so I'm going to take this 27, I'm going to substitute for the a. 27 over 3. Now this symbol right here means division, so I'd say in and out. 27 divided by 3 equals 9. And then going on over here, y squared minus 2, so we'd have 6 squared minus 2. Now the mistake that most people are going to make right here is say 6 times 2 rather than saying 6 times 6. So this would actually be 36 minus 2, which would give you 34. Okay, evaluate 2w plus z to the second power. I always make sure when I'm writing my z's that I put a line through here, because if not, sometimes they can look like a 2. So I'm going to rewrite my expression, 2w plus z squared. That's what I'll do on my homework as well. Now I'm going to plug in these numbers. So w equals -4. So 2, I'm going to use parentheses, which means multiplication. 2 times -4 plus -1 to the second power. So it's really important that we remember what we learned in our last chapter, which was our order of operations. So the first thing I need to do here is although there is grouping symbols, there's nothing I can do within the grouping symbols. So I'm going to skip to my exponents, which there are exponents right here. And I'm going to actually take this out and write this out. So it would be -1 times -1. So negative number times a negative number equals a positive number. So now I'd have 2 times -4 plus a positive 1. 2 times -4 equals -8 plus 1 equals -7. So as you can see, everything you learned in Chapter 3, order of operations, multiplication and addition of negative and positive integers, is extremely important to continue practicing in this chapter. Okay, evaluate -3p plus q all over r. So I'm going to start by rewriting this. -3p plus q all over R. Now I'm going to substitute what they gave me. So -3, and then P is -6, plus Q, and Q is a -2. Whenever I have negative variables or negative numbers, I usually put them in parentheses to help me make sure I don't lose my negative symbol. All over 2. So I have to remember GEMDAS, and there is a grouping symbol here. Remember, our division sign acts as a grouping symbol, so it tells me to do everything on top and then divide it at the end. So when I'm working on my numerator, I need to make sure I'm still following order of operations. So the first thing I would do is -3 times -6, and a negative times a negative would give me a positive 18, plus -2 all over 2. 18 plus -2 would give me a 16 over 2, which would give me 16 divided by 2, which is 8. Okay, now we're going to try one with a word problem. In a basketball game, you score X 3-point shots, Y 2-point shots, and Z 1-point free throws. The total number of points you score is given by 3X plus 2Y plus Z. And you can see that the reason they use these numbers is because X was a 3-point shot, Y was a 2-point shot, and then Z is a 1-point free throw. Find the total if you get 2 3-point shots, 4 2-point shots, and 1 free throw. So the 3-point shot was represented by X, the 2-point shot was represented by Y, and my free throw was represented by Z. So this tells me that X equals 2, Y equals 4, and then my Z equals 1. So now I need to plug them into my equation. So 3 times 2 plus 2 times Y plus 1. So following order of operations, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1. Now I can add from left to right. 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 1 gives me 15 points. You want to make sure you say what it is. Since it is a word problem, you need to identify what your number means. Now, on your own, for your exit ticket, you are going to try page 198, numbers 7 and 8, and 11 through 12. This is the guided practice. Make sure you're doing the right thing. When you're done, you can go ahead and turn this in. And your homework you will be able to find on the board.